everybody. This is my ecosystem, giant ecosystem. It's full of life now, covered in plants. Like right here, there's one giant one, another one of these, and one over there. This vine, I planted a small little one in here. It started doing great until the roly-polies realized it was edible. There's some duckweed I've dumped from the fish environment in here because there was too much of it growing in there to feed the roly-polies, which are doing great. There's also a ton of slugs. Look right there, there's the roly-poly. And right here. And there's a baby roly-poly. Snails. Yeah, there's a bunch of snails starting to grow. And I have seen a couple baby crickets in here. One I found, but then which I went to get it on video, but then it jumped away. And after it jumped away, I couldn't find it again. So it's somewhere in here. From the crickets I had last year, if you saw in some of my older videos. Though I didn't even know if they stayed in here, since every so often I would hear chirping, but then it would disappear for several weeks. Apparently they did lay eggs in here. And flowers and leaves and other stuff to decompose, like right there. Mold for things like springtails, which that's the first mold I've seen survive longer than a day. Since the springtails, they devour anything that has mold on them. And there's more over there. And there is small roly-polies. Because this vine, as you see, some spots have been completely eaten. Entire sprouts are gone. Whole was eaten. These plants prefer not to be eaten for some reason, since roly-polies don't eat them. Only occasionally slugs will take little nibbles out of them. As you see, where other plants will be devoured, unlike these. These, nothing eats them, but these grow so incredibly slow that if anything ate them, they would just disappear. And there's daffodil in the water, along with some algae I sprinkle on there for food. It's a ton of daffodil, which I'll feed them to my fish, which then those fish will poop and release nutrients into the water, which will be eaten by the duckweed, which I'll dump in here to decompose, which then will be eaten, and then which will decompose, letting nutrients appear in here, eventually feeding the daffodil, which repeats the cycle. Only problem is, since you have to bring in more and more nutrients, and as the plants get bigger, there's less nutrients available in here, leading to less available for plant growth and more competition between plants. Like these were dissolving food, so when there was too many, like over here, and we're trying to cover up all the other plants, I would cut them, slice them into smaller pieces, and feed them to all the roly-polies, and they'd be gone within days. Like down there's a couple slices left, some over there, but not much. The thing is, these plants, I think, are kind of breeding roly-polies that can climb onto them since they try to escape predators, such as centipedes, which I haven't seen any of them in here, but last year I didn't see any in there until summer when I found one dead on the surface. But it doesn't mean there aren't any here since I put in a couple last year. But because they would climb up here, if they weren't strong enough, they'd fall and drop into the water down there. But if they were strong enough, they would eventually climb back down. And then as the population grew, the more were stronger to hold on with stronger legs so they wouldn't just fall in the water and die, causing an accidental adaptation. Look there. There's a roly-poly. Like down there you can see in the middle of the screen, a springtail. Yeah, they're so tiny they're really hard to see. There's also a bunch of slugs. And there he goes. And there's some. There's a dead millipede, which was probably eaten by. And this is what the ecosystem looks like. It's doing great. And since summer hasn't really started, which is when the plants mainly grow, it still has plenty of time to grow more since there's still only a few plants actually starting to grow. Like down there's a few leaves. And since there's still a ton more plants that can grow in here from especially all the seeds that have been dormant over winter. And a bunch more crickets should grow and hatch out of an eggs out of here since there's been so many that should have been laid in here. If the crickets did lay a bunch of eggs in here like they should have since they were in there. And since there was that cricket, there should be a bunch that are going to hatch. Bye, everybody.